Hello and welcome to a fresh new episode of Science Monitor, our weekly roundup of all the latest developments in the field of science and technology in and around the country. From floating solar panels to understanding Tulsi, annual environment survey and discovery of new species of fishes and frogs, the week was dedicated to environment as the world celebrated yet another Environment Day. We'll bring you all the details, but first let's take a look at the headlines. Whole genome sequencing to demystify the healing powers of Tulsi. Floating solar panels now a reality in the country. TERI releases Annual Environment Survey 2015. Western Ghats home to new species of fishes and frogs, reveals study. And in our In Focus segment today, a glimpse of what transpired across the globe as the World Environment Day was celebrated on 5th of June. And now the news in detail. Tulsi is the wonder herb of all Indian households. Ancient Ayurvedic texts prescribe Tulsi as a remedy for numerous ailments ranging from mild cold and fever to serious cardiovascular disorders. But what makes Tulsi so unique and curative? Well, researchers believe that the answer lies hidden away in its genes. More in this report.
Revered as the queen of herbs and the mother medicine of nature, holy basil or Tulsi has been a part of Indian culture for almost 3,000 years now. Scientifically known as Ocimum sanctum, Tulsi is widely used in various forms of medicine, especially in folk medicine and Ayurveda for its medicinal properties. Now, in a major step towards understanding the therapeutic effects of Tulsi, CSIR, Central Institute of Medicinal and Aromatic Plants, Lucknow, has published the whole genome sequence of Tulsi in the journal BMC Genomics. Deciphered using composite next-generation sequencing technologies, this is the first report of complete genome sequence of this wonder plant.
क्योंकि जीनोम सीक्वेंस का जो मूल उद्देश्य होता है कि जीनोम में जो लिखी हुई इबारत है उसको पढ़ करके ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग उस पर काम कर सकें। तो इसमें क्या होगा कि हमने जो एक सीक्वेंस डिटरमिन करके उसको पब्लिश किया है, उस सीक्वेंस को लेकर के बहुत सारे लोग अपने प्रेरित होंगे इस पर काम करने के लिए, क्योंकि एक आसान उनको उपलब्ध है और महत्व का पौधा है। तो इससे क्या होगा कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग इस पर काम करेंगे और तुलसी का महत्व, उसके औषधीय गुण, उसकी वैज्ञानिकता और अधिक से अधिक स्थापित हो सके।
According to the results, Tulsi has the smallest nuclear genome in its family Lamiaceae and the smallest chloroplast genome in its order Lamiales. Researchers also found that Tulsi show evolutionary closeness to Salvia miltiorrhiza, a plant of Chinese system of traditional medicine. The availability of genome sequence now opens the possibility to identification of genes and pathways involved in the production of therapeutic molecules and their manufacture under laboratory conditions.
ये एक शुरुआत है, जीनोम सीक्वेंस हुआ है। जीनोम सीक्वेंस के बाद हम सारे मॉलिक्यूल्स को एनालाइज करेंगे, सारे जीन्स को एनालाइज करेंगे और उसको डेसिफर करेंगे और एक्चुअली प्लांट में क्या क्या मॉलिक्यूल्स हो सकते हैं और वो कैसे हेल्पफुल हो सकता है जनरल पब्लिक के लिए, दवाई के लिए। तो उसमें से कौन सा मॉलिक्यूल कौन सा दवाई में यूज हो सकते हैं। डेफिनेटली आगे चल के हम उसमें से कुछ ऐसे मॉलिक्यूल्स मिलेगा, हम उसको यूज कर सकते हैं अलग अलग दवाई के लिए।
Holy basil or Tulsi, rich in many nutrients, phenylpropanoids, terpenoids and their derivatives, is traditionally used for curing several ailments like bronchitis, bronchial asthma, malaria, diarrhea, dysentery, skin diseases, arthritis, painful eye diseases, chronic fever, insect bite, etc. It has also been described to possess anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, antifungal, antimicrobial, cardioprotective, analgesic and many other properties. According to experts, the whole genome sequence will help understand the curative powers of Tulsi further.
From tiny solar power cells to huge solar panel installations, we all have seen how solar energy can be tapped on land. But be ready to be surprised, as now solar power panels will be seen floating on water as well. With the first floating solar panel installed in Rajarhat New Town, harnessing solar energy has been taken to a completely new level. Let us see how.
Sun is the source of energy, and as solar energy is clean and sustainable, efforts are on to harness this valuable resource. Solar installations are being used at many places to make the best use of solar energy and also to save the environment from unwanted pollution. Most of us have seen solar cells and solar installations on land, and now it's time for floating solar panels. Yes, India recently got its first floating solar power plant when the technology was launched in Rajarhat New Town in West Bengal. The technology, which till now was available only in Japan and Australia, has been installed on a water body near Eco Park in New Town. The floating solar panel has been jointly set up by the Arka IGNOU Community College of Renewable Energy, headed by solar power expert Dr. S.P. Gond Chaudhary and the New Town Kolkata Development Authority. The man behind the development of floating solar panels for India, Dr. S.P. Gond Chaudhary, is a renowned researcher known for his contributions to the field of solar PV off-grid projects.
We have connected that power plant with the grid. It was commissioned in 2015, January 2015. Until then it is working very fine. Its generation is really more than the land-based generation. If we consider the yield of the power plant, that is the per kilowatt output, it is more. We have checked up the aqua life and other marine life. These are not disturbed. Rather the fishes, they take shelter under the solar power plant. It's a good thing, they get shadow. And one more interesting thing, we are also studying the evaporation level of the water, which is supposed to be decreased due to installation of the floating solar power plant, because it's like a blanket. And we are not covering the entire water body. We are covering only say 10 to 12% of the water body, which we have covered, and the plant is working fine.
According to the experts, floating solar panels is a revolutionary step in harnessing solar power, as the unit installed on water bodies not only saves the requirement of land but also generates less carbon dioxide and 10 to 15% more power than solar cells on the dry land. The floating solar panel unit of New Town will generate 10 kilowatt solar power every day, which will be put into the grid through marine cables and used to light up several areas in Eco Park and its surroundings. The floating solar panels also prevent the excessive heating of solar cells during summer and evaporation from water bodies. The installation is expected to help the NKDA reduce its electricity bills up to 1 lakh per year. The country's first floating solar panel has been executed under the central government funding of Rs 40 lakh. The floating solar panels will help in making the battery-less solar streetlights a reality in the country.
Environment is central to our existence, and its degradation is self-destruction. As TERI releases Annual Environment Survey 2015, it will now be clear what people dwelling in major cities of India think about environment and related issues.
Environment, the major issue that haunts public and government alike today. What does an average Indian citizen feel about his environment, and how do Indians perceive climate change and human activity? The TERI Environmental Survey 2015 that was released recently brings the answers. The TERI Environmental Survey 2015, compiled by the Energy and Resources Institute, find that 80% of respondents attribute climate change to human activity. The national report that has been compiled based on a survey of 7 river cities including Delhi, Dibrugarh, Jabalpur, Surat, Varanasi, Vijayawada and Cuttack. The survey included extensive face-to-face interviews of 15,145 citizens in these cities between December 2014 and February 2015.
This year's survey had a sample size of 15,000 plus respondents. To be exact, I think 15,145 was the sample size, 15,145. It was spread across 7 cities and they were all river cities. So we had Delhi, Dibrugarh, Cuttack, Surat, Varanasi, Vijayawada and Jabalpur. Perception of people on environment versus development trade-off is that environment and development can go hand in hand. So there are people who feel environment should be prioritized over development. Some people feel development should be prioritized over environment. But almost majority of the respondents in all cities except one, and if we look at the aggregate national level, as high as 59% of respondents feel that environment and development can go hand in hand and both should be looked at and not just one.
At an aggregate level, majority of the respondents from all the survey cities combined felt that environmental indicators, air quality, drinking water quality, surface water quality and availability, tree cover, number of bird species and insects in the city, and waste management had worsened over the years. The citizens also felt that there has been no change in drinking water availability and groundwater quality and availability. It was also observed that while 80% of the respondents felt that temperature had increased and rainfall had decreased over the past 5 years, around 81% had perceived the occurrence of extreme events which they attribute to human activity and climate change. 78% of the respondents were optimistic about the success of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan in cleaning up rivers. The report, in essence, compiles the opinion of the common public and can go a long way in providing guidelines for implementing necessary environment policies.
The beautiful Western Ghats is an ecologist's paradise. The complex ecosystem is home to thousands of organisms ranging from mammals and birds to reptiles and amphibians. Adding to its rich biodiversity, scientists have now discovered a new species of fish and 3 new types of tadpoles in the Western Ghats. More in this report.
The 1,600-kilometer stretch of Western Ghats, Sahyadri as it is popularly known, is home to a wide variety of flora and fauna. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, the intricate ecosystem of Western Ghats represents one of the 8 hottest hotspots of biological diversity in the world. Now, adding to the rich biodiversity, ecologists in 2 different studies have discovered a new fish species and a species of frog. The fish species, which has been called Pythia striata, has been discovered by a group of researchers from the Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and the Environment under the leadership of Dr. V.M. Atkar. The fish species was discovered endemic to 2 streams, the Mudba and the Turat, of the Tunga River basin in Kudremukh National Park, Karnataka. Pythia striata is a small fish with a length of around 3 to 4 centimeters, which thrive in a shallow pool of gently flowing water and are found in a small group of around 4. While the male is reddish in color and the female muted greenish grey, the species differ from existing species in several characteristics, including dark outer edges of scales.
Recently I described a new fish. Now it is called a Kudremukh barb. Scientifically it is called as a Pythia striata. The fish is different in following ways. It has an oblique stripe body pattern. It has a complete lateral line with 20 to 21 pores, and it doesn't have a barbels. The male and females are very different in their colors. Male is typically a reddish, while female is greyish in color. But both male and female has a golden ring at its tail.
In a similar study, researchers from ITRI, Gubbi Labs and Manipal University reported the discovery of a new species of frog last year in the narrow streams of Sharavati in central Western Ghats. They belong to the species of Nyctibatrachus, meaning night frog. In addition to this, researchers have now for the first time described 3 tadpoles of Nyctibatrachus frogs.
Forests harbour many frog species that are exclusive to Western Ghats and are not found anywhere else in the world. We found out that morphologically many of the tadpoles look very similar, and when I discussed with my mentors, Dr. Gururaja and Dr. Ravikant, they said that maybe molecular techniques would help in better understanding the tadpoles. That's why I took to DNA barcoding and taking a small piece of tadpole tail into the lab and working on it, I realized that DNA barcoding is a better way of discriminating the tadpole species. That's how I was able to describe 3 species of tadpoles of an endemic genus of Nyctibatrachus from Western Ghats.
While the discovery of the new fish species was published in the journal Copia, description of the tadpoles has been reported in the Journal of Natural History. Following the discoveries, researchers have urged the need of conservation of ecosystems in the Western Ghats. It has been observed that with streams being diverted for irrigation and other purposes, habitats of fishes, frogs and other rare aquatic organisms are slowly being wiped out.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching Science Monitor. Let us now have a look at some important science and technology activities happening in India and abroad in our next segment, Science Express.
In a rare discovery, Edgar Nernberg, Canada's leading proponent of creationism, has discovered a unique fossil of fish. The discovery, which consists of 4 feet square block of sandstone with 5 fossilized fish, has been considered uncommon in this region, as the stones here are almost 60 million years old, while the fossils are too intact and well preserved to be that old. While the local paleontologists argue that the fossil belongs to species of fish which existed 60 million years ago, Edgar Nernberg, a creationist who believes in the biblical theory of creation and rejects the idea of evolution, says that the fossils are from the past 6,000 years, after the world began. These fossil fish are being considered important as they are very primitive representatives of a large group of bony fish known today. With the aim of enhancing cybersecurity in the country and promoting focused research and development in the field of National Association of Software and Services Companies and Data Security Council of India has launched a cybersecurity task force. The task force, which has been divided into 4 working groups, with each group focusing on a certain aspect of IT development in India, will work towards providing cybersecurity solutions while enhancing development and research in the sector. The task force will submit its recommendation within the next 12 weeks.
Earth, the only planet known to support life. With its perfect combination of elements and environment, Earth has acted as the cradle of life. But over the years, increasing demands of rising population has resulted in large-scale degradation of environment in multiple ways. We have but one home, and its protection is our preservation. This is what the World Environment Day this year reminded everyone, as we would see in our next segment, In Focus.
Earth has enough for everyone's need, not everyone's greed. These are the words of Gandhiji. Today, if we were to pause and think, we would realize that the words resonate with great truth and insight. Earth, our home. With a perfect combination of elements, existence of water and oxygen, perfect distance from the sun and atmosphere, Earth is the only habitable planet of the solar system known to support the existence of life. But over the years and with increasing population, human demands have increased, placing tremendous stress on environment. As a result, the once abundant natural resources are fast becoming rare commodities, with numerous effects on climate and life across the world. In this scenario, a positive and collective environmental action becomes an absolute necessity. It is in this context that the World Environment Day is celebrated all over the globe on 5th June every year. Established by the United Nations General Assembly in 1972, the World Environment Day is annually organized under the aegis of United Nations Environment Programme. Endorsed and celebrated in over 100 countries, the World Environment Day acts as a global platform for public reach and environment awareness. It also serves as the People's Day for doing something positive for the environment. Rapid industrialization and thoughtless urbanization has resulted in extreme pollution of land, water and air. Extensive deforestation and exploitation of natural resources across the world. The result of our mindless development are today manifested as dearth of resources and climate change, which are emerging as huge concern worldwide with serious scientific, social and economic dimensions. The overall well-being of humanity, the environment and the functioning of the economy ultimately depends upon the responsible management of the planet's natural resources. Focusing on sustainable consumption and production, the world this year celebrated the Environment Day with the slogan, 7 billion dreams, one planet, consumed with care. Consuming with care means living within planetary boundaries to ensure a sustainable future. The theme aims to drive home the message that sustainable living and moderate consumption of natural resources is the only way to ensure the continued existence of human race on Earth. While a wide range of activities were organized across the globe to mark the day, according to an alarming prediction, by 2050, if current consumption and production patterns remain the same, and with the rising population expected to reach 9.6 billion, we will need 3 planets to sustain our ways of living and consumption. Under such circumstances, it is the urgent need of the hour that citizens of the world come together and adopt effective measures to ensure a sustainable future. Let us consume with care, for we are humans and Earth is our only home.
Well, that is all for this episode of Science Monitor. Do tell us how do you like our program. You can send your feedback and suggestions. Our email ID is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write into us at Vigyan Prasar C24, Qutub Institutional Area, New Delhi 110016. Well, that is it from me and my team in this episode of Science Monitor. We'll be back next week, same time, same day, bringing you all the exciting stories on science and technology. Till then, bye-bye and keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.